Here you
Hey,
are in the right place at the right time.
nice to see you all.
We are very happy that you've joined us here today for a Sunday in April. We've got a wonderful special guest for you. I'm Sandy O from Emma's
And
Revolution.
I'm Pat Humphreys.
And we are doing our Learn a Song series, which is sometimes our songs and sometimes songs of friends of ours, as you're going to be meeting today. And we want to thank our tech team for keeping things going for us. That was Tobes
Woohoo!
running the video. And we've got Moria, Marcy, Rada, and Paula in the house today here on Zoom and on Facebook Live. You want to say hi to folks on Facebook Live and let you know that there's a link at the top of your post if you'd like to come join us in Zoom. There's also a link in the top of your post where you can download the sheet music for the song that we're going to be learning today from our special guest artist. Okay, so let's tell you a little bit about this friend of ours. So here's the thing about Zoom time and pandemic land and online life. Generally, we would see this friend of ours maybe like once a year. However, in online life, we have had the amazing opportunity of doing workshops with this artist, of getting to be on, having conversations on a platform called Song News Network, which maybe he'll tell you about too. And also to have a moment like this where you all get to, and we too, get to learn one of his really amazing songs. So David Rovics is an incredible, prolific, and passionate activist, singer, songwriter. You know, whenever something happens in the world, we both look at each other and say, well, David's going to
Dave's
have
got a
a song
song.
about that in a jiffy. So we are in the right company.
Before the end of the broadcast.
And before the end of the broadcast, he tours internationally, as you'll see from some of the information that gets posted in the chat here by our fabulous tech team. He tours internationally. He's put out many, many recordings. And if you go to his website, davidrovics.com, you can see a complete list of the songs that David has written. And you can click and see videos of them and get the sheet music. And that is just the kind of extensive overview and sort of commitment to justice. One of the quotes that I thought was really wonderful on David's website said, if the great Phil Oakes were alive today, he would be called the new David Rovics. So please welcome the real David Rovics to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Sandy and Pat. It's wonderful to be with you here on the internet. Although I miss the days when there was a time we would see each other even more than once a year. You know,
That's
actually
true.
that went on for some years around the overlap of the global justice movement and the anti-war movement the way back when.
I guess
And
that's true.
So true,
it
yeah.
was, right?
I was
Yeah.
thinking about, I'm sorry, I was thinking about concerts where we would hardly get to see you, but you're right, demonstrations we would see
Yeah,
you.
we see
Yeah,
you a lot of
demos. Yeah.
demonstrations. Yeah,
Yeah, concerts another matter, right?
yeah.
Right.
And
Mm.
the occasional, moment at the grocery store, sitting and having a snack after or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever we could find food, wherever there was something going on.
Columbus, Georgia or Madison, Wisconsin or
That's
somewhere.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my God, that seems like a lifetime ago. Although some of
Yeah.
those things are still going to be going on. There is going to be a demonstration at the border in October, by the way. We
Yeah,
should
Oh,
talk to
good.
you about that after this.
yeah.
But we're thrilled that you're here and you've got a song to teach our crew here in Zoom and folks joining on Facebook Live. And it's one of your earlier songs, right? Tell us about it and like let us know
Yeah.
what you're thinking
I
these
mean,
days.
I know I had no idea which song to choose to teach, and I mean my tendency as being really into Dadgad was to introduce everybody to Dadgad and teach them something. But I thought maybe that's too geeky, and we should stick to standard tuning, and there's enough to deal with standard tuning. But I mean this I was and I just in terms of a song with a story connected to it, I don't know what the story is connected to this song necessarily, except that it's like um this I guess the story connected with this song, it's really the only song I've written that kind of like developed sort of feet and kind of started moving around without me having anything to do with it, and it's like the only song I think that, I mean, I've never had a hit or anything like that, or anything, but with Spotify, you can see which songs are the ones that people are into the most, and on YouTube and stuff, and this is clearly the song that, I mean, I get up every day and have messages from Mexico and Ireland, at least one, usually several, every day in Spanish and English, praising, either Mexicans praising their Irish brothers or Irish praising their Mexican brothers. It's often brotherly stuff, because these are, I mean, they're every day there are Mexicans thanking the Irish who fought for Mexico 175 years ago. Every day, and they remember the Irish battalion that fought for Mexico in the Mexican American War. They remember them in Ireland, and there's lots of plaques and statues and stuff. I've only been to one of the plaques in their memory in Mexico City, but I hear about lots of others in Matamoros and different towns where battles happened, Churubusco. And they have events every year to remember the St. Patrick Battalion. It's really quite, and also in Ireland as well. But I think they're much more well known in Mexico than anywhere.
Great.
And
we love how you highlight people's history, David. It's really great to hear.
Yeah, I love how you do that too. But I'm sure these interviews with other musicians must try. See, I went into this with the intention of not saying too many complimentary things about Emma's Revolution, because I'm sure that your viewers must get sick of that. I mean, I know mine do. Like, I mean, this is not an excuse to have a guest on to praise, the host. I mean, that's what I always figure. Like, okay, if this happens to them too, then yeah. But the people's history. I love telling people's history.
That's funny.
We love telling people's history. Yeah.
Well, let you tell some people's history through song. Tell it, go right ahead. Jump into the song with us. Thanks for being here.
Sure. I first heard about the San Patricios, the St. Patrick Battalion, when I was actually opening for Howard Zinn like 22 years ago or so, 23 years ago, at a church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he talked about them, and I don't remember if I read about them in the People's History, which I had read a couple times at that point, but certainly took note when he was talking about them in his speech. And a good friend of mine back then was a veteran of the Abraham Lincoln Battalion in Spain, and who's long since dead at this point. But a lot of people knew about the Abraham Lincoln Battalion and the international, brigades in Spain in the 30s. But there's so many other similar examples, and the San Patricios were one of them. And let's see, I'm trying to get my hands visible for any of you guitarists that actually want to see my hands. I need to figure out how to position guitars, and cameras, and still working at it after all this time with the pandemic. I'll sing this song, and then we can talk about what we're doing here. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go, enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin go bragh, bright with the harp and the shamrock, and Libertad para Republica. Just 50 years after Wolftone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside in the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. One of the things about telling people's history and discussing it or singing about it or writing about it is that I have discovered in many different contexts is the further back you go, the safer you are. Like when it comes to Irish history, just don't talk about anything that happened after 1916, and you're okay. Everybody can agree. But if you talk about anything post 1916, you're walking in a minefield. Just in terms of the playing here, this is in 3/4, which is one of the 2 time signatures I use, and and I'm doing an alternating bass line. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The alternating bass line is always happening on the downbeat. So there's like in 3/4 there's well in 3/4 there's basically in between any 2. I don't know. I'm always like, how far back do we go in terms of like guitar beginners? But I'm just gonna go back to the basic concept here to start with. This in between any 2 notes, if we're talking about like whole beats in a measure, there's 4 movements with your right hand that you can turn into notes or into empty space, and the notes or the space ratio makes all the difference in terms of what style of music you're playing and what it's going to sound like. And it's all about the notes that are there and the notes that are left out. But the basic root, the basic 1, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the first beat of each measure is emphasized with a bass note in this 3/4 waltz time thing, and then other notes are sort of included in a way that's not too repetitive, and you don't want to include them all or else it would sound like chaos, but you don't leave them all out or else it would sound like a bass line without the guitar part. In somewhere in between, sounds like a accompaniment that you want. So that's the basic alternating bass line. And otherwise, once you got that down, then it's pretty self-explanatory as far as the chord progression goes. But with the alternating bass line, I mean, that pretty much gives it the character, I think, that neat thing about alternating bass lines is once you can do it like this, I mean, I'm demonstrating an alternating bass line here. And if you can play an alternating bass line with the chords like this, then it's really no more hard to do it with the melody instead of the bass line. It's just, even if you're not doing fancy stuff, like even if you're not doing like pull-offs and hammer-ons and whatever, but you're just playing the notes, even just that, is you can still pick out a melody up there just as easily as you can do an alternating bass line. So it's just, and then if you include little ornamental things, then it really sounds like a melody. And I think that the trick is and the secret to my entire guitar technique is just being able to hold down the chords while you play at least a suggestion of a melody in between them, you know, if you're not doing alternating bass lines. And this is how I try to keep one guitar shows interesting, because when you're playing with a band, then you tend to do a lot less on the instrument because you need to leave sonic space for everybody else. But if you're the only musician, then you got room to do whatever you want and you know, keep it interesting. And basically, so I've been erring on the side of keeping it interesting for a while now as a solo performer. I mean, that's yeah. What do you think? How's that lesson going?
Also, I was just going to say, I'm not sure you can call it on the side of erring when you have successfully been a solo performer.
Yeah, right. You're not erring on the side of being busy, I guess.
Yeah. Lovely to hear it described.
Yeah, and it's a different description than I've heard, and to talk about the spaces in between the notes as well as where the notes are. It's because it's so important. You know, like in drawing, there's this technique called chiaroscuro, and it's the space that defines the image, and to have both sides of that described is in terms of, you know, what you're doing both with your right hand technique and your left hand technique is really lovely. You know, in different groups on different days have instruments or not. It looks like for the most part, this group is a singing group, but I think it's also just really fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to us, certainly,
too, yeah.
To hear how you think about your accompaniment. And it's so true what David describes as that when you're playing with a band, you totally simplify down your guitar part so that there's room for all the other instruments. But when you're the solo accompaniment to your song, you have room. Plus, you do need to like fill up the space a little bit, and do that so well. So it was really nice to hear your description of that.
Oh, good.
So you could even just, you know, often what we'll do is just move on to teaching a chorus or something like that. But, you know, you have free reign. Do it as you would like.
Yeah, and just to let you know that we've got Charlotte on Facebook who said, "What a great song!" And so,
good.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, with the vocal, you know, I love how some people can teach songs so well and teach harmonies, and I know we're all huge fans of Pete Seeger, who was the absolute master at teaching a song while performing it. Sort of doing those two things at the same time. But it's a skill that I've aspired to and never developed really. But I think vocals, harmonies are the most amazing thing. I think the human voice and two voices together is the most amazing combination of instruments. If I were to pick one, as you, having seen me on tour a number of times, you've probably noticed that if I'm touring with another musician, it's a vocalist, and that's not an accident. It's of course, a vocalist who's also a multi-instrumentalist is the ideal, I guess, but that you can't always have what you want, especially when you're trying to get somebody in between college and job and whatever that allows them to take a month off and go on tour. You don't always. Yeah, and when you're paying as badly as I always have paid anybody, it's a labor of love for sure to do a tour with me. It's not a career move,
No, but this song,
the human voice is amazing.
Yeah, this song is great for harmonies, the chorus and everything like that. So yeah,
we've
love singing
been
along.
enjoying singing along.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Why don't you run through that chorus? It's a great chorus.
And I don't know how that works on Zoom, but is there a time delay here? Or I guess we can find out. But.
We can't do it together very easily.
We heard it the other day. It was
true.
just slightly off. So actually, maybe if you don't mind doing the chorus, we'll sing with you and we'll see what people say about how.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
It's about an eighth of a beat off or something. So.
What's that?
It's about an eighth of a beat off. So we'll see how it goes.
Then it just, we can just pretend we're in a very echoey church. And,
we'll try to jump ahead.
From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side.
Yeah.
Unison with you. Wait a minute.
So Zoom.
I have to sing that high this morning. Okay, it's afternoon.
I don't know what other people are hearing, but when I'm singing, Zoom eliminates the sound of your voice.
Right. Yeah, it'll sometimes cancel out entirely.
That's what Rada just said. Yeah, we were on something the other day where it kind of worked.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Anyway, we're enjoying coming up with some parts, which we don't have.
Good.
So that's just fine.
I've heard about platforms that are designed for people to jam together in real time online, but I've never actually experimented with one.
Yeah, we haven't yet either.
Right. But yeah, we'll let you take it over.
Oh, let's see. But then I'd have to know what I'm doing here. Let's see. From Dublin City. I mean, I don't know actually. But I can for the guitar geeks, I know what to do as far as teaching more guitar parts if anybody's interested. I don't even know what the harmony is for this song, so I wouldn't be able to tell anybody about that.
You don't have to at all. No, just
sing it a couple times so people can really get the chorus. And
run through the chorus. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I can do that
slowly so people can pick up on it who haven't heard it before. We've heard it some, so we've been a little bit. But if you just sing it through slowly a few times, then folks can jump on, and they can also figure out their harmonies from where they are.
Yeah, and I wish I could hear them all, but I'll just pretend I'm listening to a chorus here, and we'll sing this song together. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied, so we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied, so we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. See, if I were directing a choir, which I've never done before, but if I were and people were in the room and I could hear you all, then I'd know, like, okay, we got the chorus down. Now we can all sing the song together. And as it is, it's a bit abstract, right? But
Can you
you know,
go through it
mhm,
and go really slowly? Even maybe even I don't
yeah.
know if this is comfortable for you at all, but can you play it without the guitar for a moment and
Oh,
just
sure.
sing the melody without the guitar, but go slowly?
Yeah. And anybody out there, just as a little aside, who may not realize that musicians are usually really good at taking orders from producers. So like you can just tell me what to do, and it's the same with actors. I mean, if anybody's who's actually worked with musicians or actors, and whatever you've heard about them being difficult people, it's generally not at all the case, right? I mean, every musician, with one exception, two exceptions that I've ever hired, has been like, you tell them what to do in a studio, and they just immediately try to do whatever it is you're telling them to do, right? They don't argue with you. It's only on TV that they actually argue with you, right?
And let me just shout out to Jamie on Facebook who was asking what chords are you playing. Jamie, there's sheet music you can download. There's a link at the top of your post. You can click over there and download, and you'll get the lyrics and the chords. David's playing in the key of C.
Indeed. And for those who are really into sheet music of my music, you can go to davidrovics.com/songbook. And I recently updated it. I think there's like 600 songs in there. Although only like 100 of them have sheet music. Others have just lyrics. So let's see. From from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. Acapella's good, huh? That's
Nice.
Yeah, that's lovely.
isn't it? With two voices, three voices. Yeah.
And because your part actually sort of straddles a couple of parts, so we were, which is also something that you could do when you're a soloist, right?
Yeah.
And so San and I do some jumping around to avoid singing your part, because I'm singing a lower part, obviously, and San sings a higher part.
And that's a really lovely thing to get to do. And it was good to slow it down so that we can catch that.
Yeah, it helps us kind of stay with you, and yeah, that was.
Definitely makes sense.
Can you do that again?
Yeah. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. I'll slow it down even more. Let's see. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. Those are all four chords in the song are there, by the way, in the chorus or in the verse, and it's just a whole lot of different combinations of those four chords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we were able to do is record it because the way we
Oh,
would have to know exactly, we would have to remember exactly where you move so that we
Yeah.
wouldn't both move to fill in your part. So
Here's an approximation
Here's an
anyway, so you
approximation.
can hear a little bit of what we all did together.
great.
We witnessed freedom denied, so we fought the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side.
Wow. That's so cool. That third part is always the part I can never figure out in any song that I've ever tried to come up with harmonies for. And you got it. That's you. It sounded that was you, Pat, doing the
Oh,
lower harmony.
it's a hard one because you do jump between parts, so I had to keep sort of switching around, going above
So
and
if I
below.
sing David's part, do you want to sing your part?
I don't know if I can. I can
don't know
try.
if I can sing David's.
On the spot.
Yeah. So I was doing from Dublin City to San Diego. We witnessed justice denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. So mine goes between the high thing.
Gorgeous.
The St. Patrick Battalion and we fought, and then I stayed down, fought on the Mexican side. So Pat was moving farther down too.
Yeah, I was trying to stay out of the way of your last note.
Because you're doing from Dublin
You
to
did too.
San Diego. We witnessed justice denied. We witnessed freedom denied. Is that right, David? We fought St. Patrick Battalion, and I don't remember that part now. See that I get them all confused in my head between your part and my part. But
it's fun. It's actually for a harmony singer. It's a fun song to find the third part for because it's tricky.
Yeah, those two parts that you guys just both did were not my part. Those were both different parts. Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, we were trying not to sing your part actually.
Yeah.
At least I was.
I was
right.
and apparently succeeding, which we like to give ourselves credit for when we finally do get it right. Pat went into the basement again, says Marcy. Yeah. Good,
Every once in a while, I gotta go down there.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe you want to slow down one of your verses for us, and then we can get the tune. We can all get this.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. That's it. That's the whole verse. It is it's a lot easier if you're looking at the sheet music because there's a lot of chord changes there. It's not a real, but it's only the same four chords, but in several different combinations for each verse. But it's and then that kind of avoids it coming down on the root chord too many times. Is kind of how it rolls there. I think.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so can you do that? Do it with the chords a couple more times, and then maybe a couple of times without, because it's helpful for our ears to hear where your chord change, so we can figure out. Just because it's fun and it's not a concert, we can sit here and all kinds of messy harmonies on there. If we were actually singing this in a concert,
we wouldn't sing on your verses.
We wouldn't indulge so much in the harmony, but it's just a fun ear exercise to see where those chords go.
Yeah. Plus the words.
Yeah.
We really want to give a lot of focus to them. And I definitely want to say I love that you end those phrases, both the verse and the chorus, on the A minor.
On the minor,
it's so
really nice.
Like even at the end of the song, it's like, this is not over, and this is heavy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, folks who are in the room, who are in our songwriting workshop, our songwriting group, you can just hear how landing on that minor really just punctuates the emotion of the song.
Oh yeah, it's really something else, and it prepares you for the rousing chorus coming in with an F, but that little minor thing, like at the end of a song, like da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Just that little, throwing in that little minor at the end of a song. If the whole song might have been trying to be a tearjerker, but the tears don't actually come until you hit that minor, and then
Yeah, that's great.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the beautiful things about being human is that actually we are moved like that by sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and that was proven in a scientific experiment I read about on the BBC or something some years ago. I guess maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where they were doing stuff on people's brains with, wired up with all the stuff, and they found that songs, words when sung, go straight to the emotional centers of the brain, and so they get processed differently.
Mm,
Which, of course, we all knew already, but now it's proven.
good
Yeah.
to have the scientific backup on that.
Yeah.
yeah. So give us some more of that verse. Give it to us just a little bit slowly so that we can also hear the chord changes. So then it gives us a chance to just lean into those harmony notes a little bit.
Yeah, good. Okay. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. Maybe worth noting that on the guitar part too, at the end of each verse, as I'm sort of building up the pace a little, I'm just doing this little thing of suspending each chord. So from the C, it's like I guess suspending the first two chords anyway. Oh, that one too. Yeah, the first three chords. So, which gives it a more a rolling feel and more build up to something, and then, yeah, like the chorus in most cases. So, my name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. Yeah, that's the first verse again. We want an a cappella,
And we can hear it. And we can try to just hear those chords without the guitar.
Yeah, good. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. That's a more interesting melody than I thought about, actually, since now singing it a cappella.
We're learning things about your own song.
Isn't that a nice thing? Like, I have to say that's one of the things that's been amazing for us about doing this process for 2 years now. First of all, it helped us relearn many, many, many of our songs that we hadn't sung in a long time because they weren't
Big time.
moment. And then really, I feel like I got a sense of like what kind of chords I like, what kind of shapes of chords I like, and what I tend to do with melodies, and it's just been really fun. So I love that you're like, hey, that's a nice melody I came up with.
It's fun to sort of figure out the patterns that we use, partly so that it helps us kind of see our work, but it also gives us opportunities to divert from our
Yes.
the patterns that we have and try new things. And it's another one of those things that we talk about a lot in our songwriting class is how not to always stay in the same mode, but to to vary that a little bit. But if you can't see it or hear it, it's really hard to do it.
Yeah.
It's hard to do anything else. And it's been great since we're not singing. We haven't been singing on a lot of stages. I know you've toured a little bit through this period, but it has kept us up, vocally as well. I know there are some folks that are saying they haven't been singing for a year or two, and that's like, if you're not playing an instrument for a year, you sort of forget. It isn't exactly like riding a bicycle. It does take a certain amount of exercising those muscles and everywhere to sort of make this all come together.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. I mean, I much prefer being able to tour again, but the whole thing of having these online gatherings, and it's been a lot of really positive things about it, and also yeah, just keeping in practice. I mean, I was doing just a monthly concert along with various other things, but that was a sort of a regular thing for a while, and just doing that was so helpful to just force myself to practice songs and not just be writing new songs, because that's always easy to do if you're into writing a new song, but to remember your old songs, you have to have some excuse. I mean, it helps to have some excuse, not because you don't necessarily feel like singing some song you've already performed it at a concert 500 times. But then if it's been a couple of years since the last 500th rendition, you do need to practice. You're not gonna just remember the thing. And then what I find also about going back into these songs that as I've been doing to yeah, more than usual during the pandemic, updating the songbook section on my website, for example, was one of those projects where I was like revisiting a heck of a lot of songs that I hadn't listened to in a long time. And when you first write a song or you first record a song, some of the most interesting little things about it that you come up with actually are often like the things that musically really define the song and really differentiate it from a lot of other songs that you've written, that I've written, but then if after a while I forget about those details and then I'll remember the basic chord progression, and I'll maybe start doing the song live again. But then if I don't listen to how I originally recorded it, it's usually a real mistake, because it's not going to have that quality of, this is a particular song that's doing particular things, and you know the chord progression may be similar to several others that I've used, but it's different. And what makes it different is this thing that I've forgotten, that I did when I wrote it. Yeah.
I think that's a really beautiful kind of even that, like, as a metaphor for things, like really going back and being in the space of when you created the thing, defines the uniqueness of it, and to miss that would be leaving that piece behind. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to just point out, so Hoda wrote something in the chat that was really nice. Hoda said, here we go. Gosh, it was just one couple back. You are a great teacher, David, because of your ability to be surprised by your own sound. So I thought that was lovely.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, our willingness to like look at ourselves and be appreciate who we are and what we've done and what we bring to the world. And you certainly bring something to the world that we appreciate. Not to just be on the like mutual fan thing, but it is real. Like, I think, are some of the few people who do this, and
Yeah.
out there, we can't always say, "Oh, David's going to have a song about that," and and that's encouraging, and is also sort of, it's supportive in a way, because we know that somebody's going to address it, and we don't have to feel like, gosh, we have to address every song. And I know sometimes we've had that. You wrote something an email a couple of years ago. Does anyone have this kind of song on this issue? And the fact of being able to reach out to this small group of us who do that is really heartening. And I kind of love that. And let me just say that this is a special day for you. We want to stop working you so hard. So maybe we'll just ask you your song one time through, and then we'll come back on and we'll take it from there.
Well, happily.
To be able to really, dig into this song a little bit, and to talk about, writing, and talk about our process and all that. Oh, there was one other point actually I wanted to make, that, we are, you toured a ton in those before days, as did we. And, there is the there are these two sort of distinct aspects of being a performer, and I don't know how this sort of sits in your the context of your life, but we have these times where um, we do this very sort of singular, or in my case, the two of us sort of working on our things where nobody else can really be around during that time. We sort of need that kind of quiet space to work on our songs, but then we also need in equal measure that time where we take the songs out into the world and just being able to be with people and have that feedback and stuff like that. And I just it was one of the things I wanted to say about this time online is that it does help to fill some of that space that touring was for us, because it's very easy when you're at least my kind of personality to just be in our little vacuum and go, okay, well, eh, whatever I was doing wasn't really that important anyway. It's just this little thing, and it's not that it's never going to be amplified in the way that popular musicians work is amplified in the world. But to remember in these spaces that we did capture some important moments, that we did um, put together a set of phrases that really worked for our own ears, and for some other people too, and be reminded of that. I think that's a very real thing when you're a creative person, and especially a performing artist, to have the opportunity to remember your body of work, and to remember that it has some significance in the world. And when we don't have a room full of people showing their approval every 5 minutes, it's a
Yeah.
big change for all of us. And we know many artists that don't survive that sense of deprivation. It's really, we're used to a lot of back and forth with audiences. So I just wanted to say thank you to the folks that do show up to this weekly thing, and to our concerts and everything, and let you know how important it is to us, that we get feedback from you about what we're doing. We are a very important and delicate balance of public and private, beings, and social and kind of antisocial beings. So we're really grateful for this platform, and for all of you that come and show your appreciation on such a regular basis.
It is a strange mix of social and antisocial, isn't it? To be a performer, to be an artist, because you're, I mean, of course, it's a mix of other things as well. Like we're all, whether we want to admit it or talk about it or whatever, we're all business people too. So we're writers, we're musicians, we're business people, and we're performers, and they're all actually really different skills, and you have to be good at all of them, right, in order to do this, right? But and you can have strengths in certain areas than more than others, but you basically have to have proficiency in all those areas, right, in order to really do this. Yeah, it's a strange.
Yeah.
But then if you don't, even if you don't like, whether you achieve any great degree of popularity, whether you're singing for 20 people shows like I often am, in the real world, or audiences of 20 people online, other things happen where as like you write a song about something contemporary, and there's somebody involved that you're actually writing about, who's alive and who's just had some kind of experience that you're capturing in song. And then even if it's not a huge audience that ends up hearing that, it has a real impact on a select group of people that's pretty hard to overstate, really. I mean, how people can be so moved by having their story captured effectively in song form, and then even if it's if you record it well, and it's out there to listen to and to share with people, that can have such an impact on people, even if it's maybe not that many people. And I have no idea about the butterfly effect and what kind of impact we might be having, but I always hope that the butterfly effect is
Yes.
real.
Yes, and then there's also the starfish story, like it is throwing the starfish back into the sea, and someone says, well, how is that going to make a difference? And the kid says, it made a difference to that starfish. So, yeah. So
And all of these introverts with their extrovert wing that that needs to,
we're not all
needs to be-
introverts here, by the way.
No.
Okay.
I'm speaking for myself. That I am an introvert in some respects, but I definitely have an extrovert wing. So here we
Right.
are.
Yeah. I guess that must be true for me too, because I think at least as a kid I was very introverted, but then I'd also like to sing really loudly for select groups of people, like my family. So my son does the same thing. He's really introverted in public, but as long as this nobody's listening, he loves shouting, and singing. Singing, and he'll go out on the porch and he'll close the door. He's 5 years old, and he'll go out on the porch, he'll close the door, and he'll start shouting and singing and beating on the railing with a broom. But it's sort of like drumming and singing, and I don't know where he got this this idea of beating on the railing and singing, but he does it. And then but he closes the door so we can't hear him as well as the neighbors can, but he's completely aware of the fact that all the neighbors are listening, and maybe wishing that he weren't outside shouting, but nobody complains. But it's pretty funny.
Oh,
that's adorable.
That's
Oh my
really great.
God. You might have to, well, he doesn't want a video of that on TikTok, but that would go. That would fly.
It could be good.
It would.
I have put a little on Instagram of some examples of his shouting and drum beating.
Great.
Well,
Great.
you know,
Well,
mind,
yeah.
sing us a
Sing
song,
us
and
the
then we'll
song
sing
again.
you a song.
Yeah. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied, so we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin go bragh, bright with the harp and the shamrock, and Libertad Padre Publica. Just 50 years after Wolftone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside in the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side.
Yeah.
lovely.
Oh, it's so triumphant. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So triumphant. Thank you for those words. We get to really go like we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. You know, we get to do it twice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. So good. Well, we're thrilled that you're here. You want to let people know if you've got stuff coming up that they should join you at, or or anything about the Song News Network? Do we need to pull Paula up here?
Yeah, well, me and Paula have been posting various things to the Song News Network. Never probably spending as much time and effort as it at the project as I, originally thought would be cool. But I mean, it didn't. It hasn't become the sort of thing I was hoping it might become. But it's been a lot of fun to have like kind of a project that's promoting music that's not mine, which was kind of like, in a nutshell, basically what I was trying to do. Well, it's a little more than that, but I was hoping it would become something more participatory. But I think I'm not I don't have the technical skills that I'd like to have to be able to organize what I was hoping to organize. But that's true for so many different things in my life generally. But
hundreds of songs up there on your website, which I was blown away by. And Paula wrote in the chat that there's so much data to catch up on. That is so understandable.
Definitely. And as far as what I'm up to, if you're in Europe, I'll be there soon. And otherwise, I don't tour hardly at all in the United States because I can't afford to. But but if you're in Portland, drop by. I'll make you the best espresso on the block. If you're in the neighborhood, sing you a song.
We're going to Portland.
Yeah.
You're going to be around the end of June?
Will you be home?
Oh, at the end of June, I believe I will be. I think I will be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
So that's great.
That's great. Well, let me.
Or Oregon. Somebody's asking. Oregon. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Could be Australia, but
And the other one is probably not as well known for coffee. Right.
yeah, I'm sure Portland, Maine, by now must have lots of good coffee. And Portland, Australia, I'm not sure, but actually every small town in Australia has great coffee, so they probably do too. But I've never been there. It's really out of the way. If you look at a map, I drove between. I think it's somewhere between Melbourne and Sydney, but really not on the way either. It's like really out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I know that Moria's been putting into the chat there your website link and probably your other social media links so that folks can keep up with you. And we've got a bunch of gigs coming up, but some online.
A bunch. We have some.
Yeah, well, a lot online, but still, and a few live, which is kind of great. But we'll tell you about that after. We're going to do, because we know this is a special day for you. So, and our people really know how to celebrate birthdays here. So they might be popping on backgrounds. If they knew it was your birthday, it might say happy birthday, Pat, or something like that. But it's still and yeah, okay, so maybe I will do a little bit of gallery view for this. But the way we do this is that, oh, see, look, they already have them up.
That's adorable.
And we have the song that we wrote. Here they are with their happy birthday hats and all that kind of good stuff. Oh my gosh, how sweet. Song we wrote during pandemic land, and we want to sing it to today, and they know the song too. Another year around the sun, and what a year it's been. Couldn't have seen this coming round the bend. Still every day had its blue sky, every night had its moonlight, every moment brought you here again. Before this day's through, I hope you celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Before this day's through, we're gonna celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Over pixels through the airwaves, posted on a book of faces, maybe a letter or two. Now a song to say we love you. We're better off because we know you. Called you up to tell you that it's true. Before this day's through, I hope you celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Before this day's through, we're gonna celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Here's to this year and to the next one. May it bring you all you long for, and then some. Love and laughter, peace and hope and health and fun. Raise a glass, cut the cake, dream all the wishes you can make. You deserve them, each and every one. Breathe the moonlight, dance the blue sky, live it all with love. And then I'll sing this song next time around the sun. Before this day's through, I hope you celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Before this day's through, we're gonna celebrate you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was so gorgeous. Best birthday song ever, and it was sung by such gorgeous harmonies. Oh my goodness, overwhelming.
Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't want to have you on like on spotlight there because I know what it's like. We've sung this to people in this room here and also throughout this time. And I was thinking of you as I hit that minor chord.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if I'm like, jaded but that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, gosh, how often are they singing this song and people just start bawling? I mean, that must be a regular occurrence. And, if I weren't a musician, it would probably happen to me too. But I'm kind of used to the effect here. But that was so gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, I cry very easily in public as I get older. I guess that happens to everybody as they get older, right? Yeah.
Good thing,
Beautiful.
actually.
Yeah, and we wrote this song early in the pandemic when birthdays were very, very bittersweet. Because
Right?
people we wanted to be with. But I think that crying easily is maybe the only thing that's going to save the world.
I think that's,
Yeah.
and especially for men, there just are not enough places where that's allowed.
Yeah.
We live in the realm where there's some room for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that's good.
Yeah.
And my advice to anybody, if a man starts crying in the room, just don't freak out. That's the first thing, right? Like it's normal, just because that's what happens a lot of times. Is it's other people who make sure the men know that this is a really bizarre thing for them to be doing. They often don't handle it very well. And it's I'm not necessarily talking from my own experience, like crying in public that much, but I've seen this oftentimes with. Yeah, it's often their family members are often not necessarily prepared for a grown man, as they say, to start crying. But it's what a horrible expression.
That's right.
Yeah, I have to say, my dad had this sort of very tough guy sort of exterior, and he also was the kind of person that cried very easily, and it's one of the things that I really appreciated about him.
Yeah,
And I so appreciate hearing that from you because when we speak about this thing, I think we're going to add that into that people need to
Yeah.
be supportive of the men who are, going there, who are letting themselves, who are expressing how they feel. That's really, really good. Thank you. Well, let me take out spotlight for a second. We'll just wrap this event up. But thank you so much for being with us. It's just been a
Yeah.
treat to sing with you and to talk with you. Thank you so much.
it's been a great pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
And hello to everybody. Thanks for watching and hanging out. And all the birthday wishes have been wonderful. And the backdrops and the whole thing. It's great. I did a show for folks in Denmark, the Socialist Youth Federation, and they all had candles, lighters. They, in the dark with lighters, and that was, one of the few pandemic shows that felt especially like a real concert. But thanks, y'all. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, we're just going to wrap things up here. I'm going to remind folks watching on Facebook Live, thanks for joining us. If you'd like to come up and join us in the Zoom room, we do a little bit of a hang, and the first moments of that will be any love you want to send David's way, and then we'll let him go back to his birthday. We do have some concerts coming up. Live in person, Evanston, Illinois. Nope, sorry, East Lansing, Michigan, Friday, April 29th. Saturday night, Evanston, Illinois, and that one's live streamed. Saturday, May 7th is live and live streamed.
Yes.
And Saturday, May 7th, New York City, live and live streamed. And in between that, a bunch of online stuff. And so please check our website, emmasrevolution.com, or check in the chat and the post here because our fab team has been putting everything in there. So thanks to Paula, Moria, Toby,
Yes,
Rada,
the tech team.
Marcy,
Whee!
yes, for keeping everything going. And we look forward to seeing you. Thanks to folks who are watching on YouTube after the fact. We'll see you again, folks. See you next week.